It shows we're live on all four. I'm going to make a post to put in our main chat of the different links.
Oh.
I feel like I've heard this before at EDC. It's going to be amazing having wings, Shiba wings at EDC soon, right?
There you go.
Pop-up shops all over the place, serving Shiba wing and also giving you the 411 on the crypto markets. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? We are back at it with the best team in the space. You guys already know Shiba wing is holding strong through this current market. We're looking up. Nothing but a bullish week to come for Shiba wing, for the space overall. As you guys seen yesterday, we had a nice little pump, right, in the whole market, given the fact that, you know, a strategic crypto reserve was put in place with Solana being announced as one of the currencies to be included on that list, which is very, very big for us. I know there's a split decision as far as how people feel, their sentiments on the current, decision making from the POTUS himself in America. But you know what? I think when it comes down to it, if you're not bullish overall on crypto, you're not bullish enough on yourself. So now is the time. Now is the time to really look inward, look outward, and see RWB for what it is in this space and how Shiba wing is going to lead the way moving forward, because it's all about builders in this space. And we are going to prove lots of points. So welcoming in the whole team here. We are here for the long haul, and we're here for you guys, and we're excited to be leading the way with how the space is going to be moving forward. So how's it going, guys? If anybody wants to open up their microphone, it's beautiful to see your guys' faces. And Mia, you do not look overly, what is it, saturated, or your colors were a little bit more white when you first popped on, but you're looking great. You're looking great. How's everybody doing? What's up, Jason? What's up, Jamie? What's up, Martin? Rack, Ransom?
I'm glad I got my camera work at all. One of those days where nothing seems to be working properly, but happy to be here.
Yeah, doing good, man. How are you doing?
Very, very good. Back after an express trip up to Denver, or East Denver, which was like literally like a last minute split decision. Tuesday night at like 11 p.m. I was like, yeah, I got to go up there. There's just too many people that are going to be there. Too many people I got to talk to. Got a flight booked for 6 a.m. next morning. Was up there for a couple of days. Had a good time. Met up with some really great people. Came back. Yeah, a lot of catching up to do, but very good, very good. Very interesting conversation. The actual event itself was interesting because there's like the main venue, right? Like the big event, you know, they rent out the big conference center and that. I don't know if I went at the wrong day at the wrong time, but it just was not happening. But like everything that happens adjacent, you know, when you go to these conferences, I was like, these adjacent either events or after parties or whatever, and like those were all super, super happening. So that's most of where that's mostly where all the productive stuff is taking place.
You were there representing Wing Token, weren't you, Jamie?
I was representing everything, but yes, I was very much so representing Wing Token. You know, like there's this narrative that's almost, you know, it's boring for people to hear, right? Which is like, when is crypto gonna grow up, right? Like, I'm just super summarizing it. There's people that can articulate this in much better ways. Like, for example, I bumped into a guy by the name of Michael Casey. He's a friend of mine that I met several years ago, and back in the day, he was the chief content officer for CoinDesk, I believe. He's doing something else right now. But, you know, I'd been articulating this idea of like, you know, crypto needs to grow up. There's like a lot of things that need to happen with regards to interoperability and liquidity issues. And just this, you know, like I enjoy meme coins. They're fun. You see me all day long talking about them. But there needs to be proper use cases for crypto, for for people to use this blockchain. I think that, I've spoken about this before, the regulatory risk that's always been in place has prevented any of the, what I call grown-ups from coming into this. They've been on the sidelines. They're saying, dude, I'm not going to like really put too much work into this. And now that the regulatory risk is clearly off the table, even though it hasn't been well defined yet, this conversation of, all right, crypto needs to grow up was taking place. And the way that Michael, because he's a journalist, he's a super smart guy. Like, I think he graduated from MIT, if I'm not mistaken, worked at the Wall Street Journal before started, and he just articulated this with such finesse and such, I don't know, he put it so nicely. But yes, in the spirit of crypto growing up, it's like, yeah, of course I'm talking about Shiba wings, right? Like, and first, well, because I have people's attention and I have them face to face, I can grab their attention and not lose them, because you make eye contact with someone, you're forcing them to make eye contact with you back. So as soon as I talk about Shiba wings or Shiba, people start kind of dazing off. I'm like, I can see that look. You think this is a meme coin, don't you? Right? Like, let me just come here and tell you, it is anything but, right? And it's a meme restaurants with a grown-up token associated with it, which was fun to watch people's reaction. I was like, wow, that's actually relatively novel application, a real good approach towards flipping the script, whereas the coin itself is driven by the business, right, as opposed to the other way around. So yeah, it was a good time. And I just hear that my kids made it back from school, so I'm gonna go lock my door so that we don't get surprise guests, because I can hear them getting closer and closer. So yeah, y'all can take over for a minute.
I love it, because I feel like every parent is probably thinking the exact same thing. I just heard someone call my name too.
Both mine stayed home today with headaches, and within a half hour they were playing puzzles and games and asking when they could get on their devices.
I asked myself that question to myself. I don't have kids, but I am a grown, responsible kid. So I know what it's like to ask for those things to myself. So no, but you know what? You made a great point, Jamie, that I actually want to touch upon, and it's more of an analogy more than anything. And I think that's how I personally make sense of this space sometimes when I make these analogies. You made a mention of, when is crypto going to grow up, right? When is it going to finally grow up? And I feel like, if you put in the pretense of like how long crypto's been around, right? We're going on what, like maybe 15, 16 years. So, crypto is it's in like 10th grade, 11th grade, given the American education system, right? We are coming on that cusp, I think, of it reaching that grown up ability, right? And there's a lot to be said about where we're going as an overall space, as we're being inducted into more and more serious things. Whereas, you have the American government talking about crypto, being the lead way to economic relief. We have, big hedge funds and obviously big asset managers like BlackRock and Fidelity buying copious amounts of Ethereum, Bitcoin, other various, currencies. So like, where we come into play, like where do you see us at right now, given your experience in this space, because you've been here for quite a long time, right? Where do you think we're currently sitting at, and where do you think the next move, speculation, obviously, because nobody has a crystal ball, but given the experience that you have, like moving forward, we are moving out of that cusp of that 15, 16-year-old era, right? We start reaching that 17 to 18-year-old era where you're becoming a grown up. So just your thoughts on that.
You're asking me?
Oh, you and anybody else that's on this panel.
Yeah, because I haven't been in the crypto space for that long. Like, I'm probably the person who's been in the crypto space the least. I've been in Wall Street forever. Yeah,
that's something to be said about that, though, too. I mean, markets are markets, even though they're this one's a little bit more hyperbolic and fast paced. But
up until recently, I would have disagreed with you, but right now, I think I can agree with you. But the question is specifically on crypto. Look, where is it from growing up? It's going to be. I'm going to repeat some of the themes from the last comment that I made, right, regarding regulation. You need to have proper, up until now, crypto's almost been self-policed. It's you get the occasional Silk Road. They'll go randomly arrest the poly market guy. Like, I mean, there's just been just random, right? The way that the actual government interferes with it, but for the most part, the crypto community has had to figure out how to self-police, right? Like they have all these rug checkers and the Zach XBT or whatever. Like, you know, you have this kind of community grassroots way of taking care of itself. But in order for the JP Morgans or for whatever's to get into this, they need actual regulatory, you know, like a framework, something that's actually clear and it's written down. And that's coming, right? So that was a very strong prerequisite. When I first got into crypto, I said, this thing needs regulation. And everyone screams and yells and said, government, get out of my crypto, because this is why we exist. It's because we're decentralized. We don't need the government. We were born because we're, you know, trying to get away from government. But anyone that's, you know, got a little bit more wisdom in the real world and was very, very pro crypto, very quickly realized, no, we need the regulation that's in place in order for it to go to the next stage. So, you know, the regulatory stuff is coming, right? Like I see information every day about how the SEC is both going after and dropping, like going after various people. I think they're really confused. They're going down like their to-do list. And today's thing was like, yep, they're not going after Kraken. And last time it was like, we're not going after Binance anymore, but they're going after like Coinbase. They're going after, like, I don't understand what the hell they're doing. I don't think they understand what they're doing, but that they will sort that out. And once they do, that's really important. But, you know, when it comes to growing up, there is a story that I love sharing that I have in previous, and I shared it actually again when I was at in Colorado discussing just random stuff, and it was regarding the Terra Luna debacle. There's a lot to be said about that. That's, to me, one of the most fascinating chapters of crypto as a whole. But as it relates to your question, I'll narrow down the relevant parts, right? Terra Luna essentially replicated the financial crisis. It had a lot of the same ingredients. It had a lot of the fancy derivatives over leveraged. You have, like, you know, improperly collateralized instruments being created that were being upheld on the belief that they were properly collateralized. Like, this is very technical stuff, right? But like, from a person that understands finance can see very quickly how Terra Luna was, and I'm not going to say the word mini version of 2008, because it was of the same caliber and size. And, you know, for example, like, I believe the total losses incurred because of that was $65 billion. And I think Lehman Brothers was less than that. Like, when Lehman Brothers fell, it was like 50, right? So Terra Luna outdid Lehman Brothers, which is, to me, number one, crypto had to have reached a certain sophistication level to be able to screw up to that capacity using all these crazy tools. Number two, it had to have a big enough reach in order to get to that dollar amount of, like, value being destructed. And so it did actually replicate on the size, scale, and sophistication to 2008. Now, what does that have to do with your question? The question is, the answer is, Bitcoin was born 16 years ago. Took crypto 16 years to screw up at the same level to learn the same lesson that regular finance took hundreds of years to learn. Traditional finance has been there forever. In 2008, it happened hundreds of years after it took place. Like, crypto's learning curve is so much faster because now they've caught up. They got their, you know, they got their financial crisis out of the way in the same size, like, scope and complexity. So to me, that's almost like a badge of honor, right? Like, yes, now we get to screw up as much as the big guys do, right? Like, and cause that level of damage, which obviously begs that, you know, we'll learn from that and not going to happen again, et cetera, et cetera. But, like, as far as catching up and growing up and having adults in the room and maturing, like, that's, to me, we're to the point. You know, I'll finish with this. You know, I said that I was very little. I was a probably the person who joined crypto the latest out of anyone in this room. And then he said, well, crypto, Wall Street, same thing. And I said, I would have disagreed with you, right? But I won't anymore. I'm going to add to that comment, which was when the past 2 or 3 years, whenever I've seen given interviews, you can see how I'm talking about how crypto and traditional Wall Street are going to migrate. They're going to converge because you're going to have to take the best of both worlds, and they're going to have to meet halfway because there's a lot of stuff that crypto does better than Wall Street, right? And there's a lot of things about Wall Street that crypto needs. In that light, I have now changed my opinion. I no longer think they're going to converge. I think crypto is going to slightly tilt in the direction of traditional finance, but traditional finance is having to adapt itself to crypto. They're not meeting halfway. My new prediction is, in order for traditional finance to stay relevant, they're going to have to make themselves compatible with crypto. And you can see that happening already. Like FDIC starting to insure crypto, like the market's starting to open 24/7. They're trying to speed up settlement, like the way that they do their settlements. Like they're having to try and do whatever they can to compete with crypto. So I did not see that one coming at all. So as far as growing up, I think we're on a great trajectory.
What a great perspective. And honestly, like I love asking these questions to you, Jamie, because I'm younger than you, right? And in the sense of too, like I wasn't a big stocks guy, right? Like I wasn't in stocks before I got into crypto. Like I got into crypto without even knowing what stocks was. So it's great to see that perspective, and I love the agree to disagree point of views that we always have back and forth. So I'm okay with being wrong in more than one sense, right? And then also being corrected, but also like have validation, right? And seeing this, how the space is actually growing up as quick as you mentioned, that the convergence though.
Something funny is like, so I was giving a lot of talks in both crypto and traditional finance venues and audiences. And I would go to crypto places, like I spoke at Consensus, I spoke at Coin Agenda, I spoke at like a bunch of, I forget all the ones, Money 2020. And I get, and so it would be a crypto audience. And at that point, I was complete novice to crypto. I know very little about crypto. I could barely understand why there was a difference between Bitcoin and the rest of them. Like literally, like the basics, like you wouldn't believe it. And I'm sitting there, but people were happy to have me there because of Wall Street Bets and GameStop. And like there was this ethos compatibility, and they kind of wanted to hear me there as just this novelty speaker. And so when I'd go up there, I'd start talking about the only thing I know how to talk about, which is stocks. And people would be like, what is a stock? Where does it get its value from? And why would anyone buy it? Right. Like, and I go to traditional finance people, and I'm not bringing up like NFTs or stuff like that. They're like, what's an NFT? Where does it get its value from? And why would anybody buy it? Like, and it was funny how both worlds were just so like, it's not even an antagonistic level. It's just, they don't know that the other one exists, or they're aware of their existence. But, as much as I'm aware that bonsai trees exist, I don't know anything about them. They're there, but I'm sure that like, so yeah, 100% think that marriage has already taken place, and we're just watching to see how it takes place.
I do love when Ransom hears what you're saying, because he does have that smile on his face. Like I could tell there's a lot of thoughts swirling through your head too as well, Ransom. Nice guitars in the back, by the way. I'm a musician myself, so that's really cool to see your guitars in the back. What are your thoughts on things, Ransom? Because I see your body movement there and your face, suggesting that you agree with Jamie on these points. But love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I do. I'd like to build on what Jamie said there, and he's totally right. I've actually been in crypto for 10 years. 2014 was I guess a little more now. 2014 was the first time I bought Bitcoin, and I was quite young at the time. I was 24 years old, but I hadn't really followed financial markets or anything like that. That was my first foray into even just following the economy, macroeconomics, finance, anything like that. But in 10 years, you can, you jump right in the pool, you stay in for 10 years, you will learn to swim after a while. And what Jamie was saying there, there's been a real anticipation for regulation in this space, not by the people who were initially in the space. And as he said, it's almost a dirty word to a bunch of crypto heads, right? Well, the money that's sidelined doesn't think so. And the reason for that is when there is a space, especially in industry, this is an emergent industry, blockchain specifically, we call it crypto, but it's really the technology of blockchain. And that's, it's definitely going to be a big part of the future of finance and honestly the future of a lot of different industries. So it's emergent. We're still waiting to see how it's going to play out, how integrated into the global economy that's going to be, but we know that it's going to be there, right? Everybody gets that now. It's not going away. Everybody sees the writing on the wall. Well, a lot of that money is sidelined and they want those regulations to come in. And the reason they want that is because when there's an area that's unregulated, regulations will come. They will come in, and they don't come in a measured manner, typically speaking, right? An unregulated area of industry, when regulations do come, they come with a heavy hand. It's always an overcorrection, an overtuning, and then they will refine that ever so slightly. That's what often happens anyway. We'll see how that goes. We have sort of bearish governmental bodies and administrations that we were frightened of putting those regulations through, right? We don't want regulations that are going to stifle this space, but we do need regulations in this space. And a lot of that money is waiting for those regulations because they don't want to get slapped with the expectation or anticipation that massive regulations, very bearish regulations could come in.
I can agree with the overcorrection fear, but can we agree on the fact that Trump is not the one to be afraid of?
Yeah, I agree with you completely there. Well, that's what I was saying. I think a lot of
if we had like someone else, then
well, they
yes.
want to exactly. You're exactly right. I completely agree there, and I think a lot of people are kind of they're cautiously optimistic now. We're dancing on those regulations now. We're dancing on it, but man, there's almost a jovial and joyous and euphoric element to this sidelined money now because things could play out in a much more optimistic way than a lot of people were anticipating those regulations coming in. So we're seeing a lot of different factors kind of converge. Again, the regulations need to be here. They absolutely have to come. Like Jamie was saying too, and it's totally true. This was a self-policed area to the degree that it was policed at all. Whatever regulations there were, if you want to call them regulations, it was really just people holding each other to account. And I want to say, this too, which is true. Some of you guys might not like to hear this. It's just true, right? The thing is, crypto as a culture is actually in a worse place right now, in my opinion. I shouldn't say worse. Worse isn't right. It's a more chaotic culture right now than it was at any other point. Maybe not at any other point, but especially whenever I first got in. And the reason for that is okay, well, actually, yeah, we've just said it's 16 years old, right? Bitcoin's 16 years old. A 16-year-old is almost a man. But I can tell you when I was 16, I wasn't acting like a man and I wasn't doing very smart things, right? So this culture, this community, it's a bit wild. It's chaotic right now, but it is maturing and it is so close to being able to be taken seriously. So we're all on the cusp of some really, really exciting times here, but there is a bit of uncertainty and chaos that comes along with that. I'm really excited to see how this will play out. And like Jamie said, I mean, realistically, even though Trump is a bit of a bull in a china shop, he's the bull we want. He's a bull. He's a bull, right? It's bullish.
No, I agree. I just dare not to ask what Mickey was doing when he was 16 years old. I will.
I think poor people are the ones. I think poor people are the ones who don't want regulation in this space because they want to get rich off of crypto before regulations come in, and that's quote unquote prevented in their minds. I think on the converse side, people with wealth, they want regulations in the space because they want to be able to reasonably invest their wealth with an expectation of return. So I think you have two sides of the space kind of balanced against each other. And unfortunately, most people that want to get rich off of crypto before the regulations come in, it's very unlikely. And they're more likely to lose their ass than anything else. And so it's kind of interesting that you have this dilemma that you have two sides of sort of the same coin, but they want differing things for various reasons.
And I think hand in hand, I agree with that. They want to make sure that their investments are safe. And if I zoom out, because I know people are so micro view on the volatility that's happening in this space, but if you macro view everything's still up. My opinion. I mean, if anybody is against that, I'm totally okay to hear a rebuttal on that. But if you zoom out and you look at Bitcoin last year versus Bitcoin this year, we're up as a whole space. And imagine next year, Bitcoin is at 120K, 150K, right? And it's all a big possibility of it being higher or lower, given the fact of whatever the market sentiment is. But if it's up, right? And I think people lose that sight because they're so focused on it not doing 100x or 1000x overnight. So I do see this new wave of acceptance coming through that where that hold mentality is going to ring true. And you're going to have people holding onto their bags a little bit longer, given the fact of slow rise rather than a hyperbolic one. So we are growing up. We are growing up.
Well, even with all the waves coming through the ecosystem, you can still see the market is desperately trying to break out.
Absolutely.
It's a really bullish sign to me, honestly. Like really fucking really, really bullish. Like it.
On that point, I've been saying as well, I think that first of all, there have been unfavorable trade wins, let's just say, like the talk of tariffs. There's, all kinds of just global uncertainty, let's just say, geopolitical conflicts, this and that. That's always happening, let's be real. But markets love to react to stuff like that. And there's been, first of all, a change of administration in the US affects things and just causes a bit of uncertainty anyway. It was a favorable change, at least in my opinion, and especially on an economic factor. But that's very solipsistic. From a US standpoint, it's favorable, but a lot of the countries who are looking down the barrel of these tariffs and regulations and things like that, or rather, just tariffs and just, again, maybe a bit of friction in their relationships with the leadership over here. With all of those factors in play, Bitcoin refuses to really dump. And that says a lot right there. There's an incredible amount of buy pressure. There's so much wind under the wings of this thing. And like Rash just said, it's just dying to break out. You can see it.
Well, I mean, too, if you guys look at the statistics, Bitcoin surged over 20% just from last week's lows alone, with everything that's going on, right? So if you're looking at the market conditions, just simply by what's happening, it's crazy. Like, we knew this was coming, and we were discussing this as a team, I think yesterday. We knew all this was coming. It was a matter of when and how, right? So we're starting to finally see that. I guess you could say we're climbing up out of that bear trap, if you want to put it that way, right?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been baked into this latest capitulation, right? I mean, we had Sol Unlocks this past Saturday, Jamie. I think you're gonna.
Yeah, I get annoyed when people talk about prices when we're talking about crypto growing up, right? Like,
that's fair. That's fair. That's
stock
super fair.
prices go up and down, and it's very grown up.
True. This is true. This is true. Another fair point. Yeah, go
on.
And this is what I preach, and I'm cooking up something, different that's going to try and shake things up. Like, there is one of the mistakes that I made. So when Bitcoin first was starting, it started around the same time Wall Street Bets was, and so I was like paying close attention to it because it was interesting technologically and economically, and as far as what the message it was sending, it was it was something of interest. In fact, I was even mining it myself a little bit, but I just kind of kept an eye, and I figured there's very low chance that Bitcoin actually succeeds, because even though it's very well thought out, like, it's up against some pretty big adversaries, which is government, and lots of them. But they made it, right? And so once they made it, I was like, all right, that's awesome. Congratulations, right? Like, and then I considered making it part of Wall Street Bets, because it's now not only relevant, but compatible. But it was still like not usable. The liquidity, you literally had to give people cash for the coin. Like, that was just, it wasn't practical. And then as it was growing further, and I've been watching this thing at a distance. By now, let's say 2018, then you start seeing all these ICOs turn into these little pump and dumps, and like, now it's just a penny stock thing. So in the same light that we didn't talk about penny stocks and Wall Street Bets, we're definitely not be talking about crypto. And so I had this association where crypto were coins, and coins with prices. And my mistake was not evaluating what it was. And so, it was said earlier, it's like, let's talk about, instead of cryptocurrencies, like, talk about the blockchain technology and decentralization. That's what actually got me to get into this. There's so many things out there with numbers that go up and down that you can trade for fun or money or whatever. Commodities, futures, this, that, and it's just like artwork, it's real estate. It's just another thing. It's another instrument that you can buy. And so that is, to me, not interesting. But when someone popped the hood on crypto and they showed to me what not only what the potential, because it's really hard to sell people on potential. All right, it's like, it has the potential to take over the world. Yeah, I know, but until it does, then call me back. But they were showing me things in DeFi that were in full operation that were blowing my mind with regards to the sophistication, right? Like, to me, the concept of an AMM was insanely novel. And then recently I just saw that somebody's tried to combine a centralized market structure, which uses order books, with an AMM chaperone to help fill out the liquidity for the orders. Once again, I'm not going to explain what that means because that'll be boring. But to those that do understand that, like, they're like, wow, that's actually a pretty cool idea. So it was what's under the hood that got me into crypto. It wasn't coins that go up, and those are fun, of course. And because Wall Street Bet's all about making money and trying to find some of them and inefficiency, that's all still in play. None of that's gone away. But to me, and this was one of the things that Michael Casey was talking, he wants to stop using the word crypto, right? Because it's already been tainted. Just like I hate the word utility and projects when we talk about this Shiba Wings business, right? Like he's like, we just need to switch the word because it's been contaminated. And it's in that same light that that I share that thing. It's like, in so many people, first of all, the first people that need to change their mind about this is the actual people that are in crypto, right? Like, the people that are most in crypto are the ones that most need to understand number go up is not equivalent to crypto, because right now that's what it is. So how are you going to explain to somebody not in crypto that number go up is not like the thing that you should focus on? So yeah, the price of Bitcoin is just the price. It's supply, it's demand, it's global, geopolitical factors, it's market mechanics. You're gonna have people taking vacation in the summer. Like, it had nothing to do with anything. And if crypto were just a number go up game, like, I wouldn't be talking right here now, because that would be a very boring conversation. I mean, and I'll end by saying number will go up. And I'm just going to talk about Bitcoin because I finally understand the difference between that and the rest of them. Yes, Bitcoin went down less than the other ones did, right? Because that one's different for its own reason. It's the de facto currency for El Salvador. It's the currency that everyone's, all these governments and businesses are loading into the treasury. There's a reason why Bitcoin specifically is being selected. Number go up. That one's got a finite supply. It is as decentralized as it can possibly get, and people continue having sex. And because of that, more population growth, limited Bitcoin, math equals price go up, period. Like, I mean, there's no way around that. Like, just very simple logic. And so if it's down this week or up this week, like, it's a distraction, right? It's more like what cool stuff can happen with crypto or with blockchain, and that's what it needs to grow up.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. I think that the word crypto is completely tainted, because whenever I try to explain it to anybody, it just becomes a conversation of, oh, you mean that scam that went around like years ago? And it's like, oh my goodness, guys, for real. So no, I exactly, like, I agree with what you're saying. And I think more or less with what's been going on with the announcement too, with the crypto strategic reserve as well. I think it's more, not so much the price action or the change in the market, but more, I guess I would say the sentiments behind it and the adoption of crypto in general, more or less, is a little bit more noticeable since that announcement.
It shows a
100%.
significant shift in attitude from regulatory bodies. In almost an unbelievable dream come true style shift in attitudes. It's happened so quickly that people can't even really quite process how big of a deal this really is. The ETFs are nowhere near as big of a deal as this, in my opinion. And so, yeah, it's honestly massive, and it's going to have long-term ramifications.
So do you think people are like on edge right now, holding their breath, because they're more or less like, how? Like, we heard that yes, it's happening, but how and when? The how and when, I think, is the limbo factor right now, right? Would you guys agree?
I do, and I have alpha that I don't know if I can share yet, but it's sooner than you think.
Whoa.
So here, I'll tease it, right? Like, So when I first got into crypto, when somebody finally got me to download MetaMask, and it was going to be using like a Binance thing, so you can imagine back then it wasn't like a native drop-down network that you can drop. But even then, I've would have been annoyed. I had to like download the thing, go into settings, add the network, click the custom tab, type in numbers and letters and URLs, and don't even get me started. And the process was complicated. And so now I'm making a UI reference, right? Like the usability, the on-ramp factor. There's then another additional problem which deals with Trump decides to make a coin and he just picks Solana, right? And Solana tokens all went down because everybody bought the Trump coin. Then his wife got jealous and wanted to be a billionaire too, and she made her coin. And then everything else went to her coin. And then CZ decided to get a dog. And then all the money flooded not only from like Binance, but from all the other chains, right? Okay, so that is a problem for maturity to take place, for the blockchain to fully be matured, for it to be a usable thing where it can, where you can globally exploit its functionality in a stable way, in a way that you don't have to worry so much about the UI. I was explaining this to my dad earlier. I was like, look, if you want to buy, because my dad's 75, he's a smart guy, but doesn't get crypto. I was like, if you want to buy the Trump token, you need Solana. But if you wanted to buy the broccoli coin, you need the thing. And it goes, okay, so that's like as if I'm trying to buy something in dollars and I need to do a foreign exchange. And if I want to buy it in euros, and I have to buy it in euros. I'm like, kind of like that, except for the wallet. The size of the bills, they don't fit in the same wallet. So now if you have euros, you need to buy a new wallet for it because the bill doesn't fit in it, right? And there's now so many things that you need to walk around with 46 wallets in your pocket if you want to do stuff. And it's expensive and cumbersome and pain in the butt. And then this liquidity issue is a risk. If I want to come up with, and I have to come up with some project that's not creative that he could understand, a video game, some video game that sits on a blockchain, and then you can play it and then make money on it. And you know, I know there's probably a billion of them already, but you have to start by picking a blockchain, and then you have to expose yourself to its risks and benefits, and you have to consider it carefully. And the fact that you have to do that sucks. And so the problems that have been outlined have been identified. Were instantly identified by me when I installed MetaMask 4 years ago. By then, pretty much anyone else that knew what they were doing had also identified it. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone's been hacking at this problem for quite a while. There's a lot of people that say they have the solution, but there's oftentimes not a real solution. They've fixed the UI. They might do like, you know, magic bridging stuff that takes place beneath, like under the hood, but there's problems when it comes to actually having a centralized choke point, right? Like technologically speaking, it's not a native universal layer that you're actually able to quickly, gaslessly, trustless, the entire thing be able to just be unified so that you can share liquidity across pools, like all these different things. This problem has been solved, and will soon come to market. And so like I think that's one of the bigger catalysts that I think everyone's been like, alongside regulation, fixing that problem that I just outlined has been the other thing that's needed in order for now the innovators to come in to do something cool, right? Because now the innovators don't need to worry about, they can just say I'm on the blockchain, and they don't have to worry about saying, picking one, because if I pick Binance, had it been a year ago, then you're excluding all of the US, even though it's quick and smart contract and very versatile. If you pick Ethereum, then yeah, the smart contract system, there's a lot of money already involved, so liquidity is not an issue, but it's slow as hell and it's expensive as hell. If you pick it's all these different things. But if somebody wants to innovate with something that makes me say, damn it, I wish I would have thought of that, that's a really great idea. There's plenty. Some of these people are probably middle school right now, right? They're going to need a solid foundation on which to do their really good ideas. and the experience needs to be such that for mass adoption to take place, that it just feels like super native and natural for people, then that's a step that needed to come right alongside regulation. Because even with regulation, having to set up MetaMask with custom networks and having liquidity issues when somebody gets a dog, that's a problem. So yeah, I think that we're very freaking close. This is the year. I believe 2025 is the year that crypto makes the step from a teenager to a adult.
Crypto becomes a man this year, eh?
Or a woman.
No, it's
At the moment, I see Bitcoin, for instance, is like the popular kid, the jock at school, who's gone to, let's say, the Harvard School of Finance, and he's now been invited to the White House for the crypto summit in 3 days. So I think it's going to mature very fast. It's already Bitcoin.
Sorry. Say that again. Who got invited?
Like Bitcoin, crypto, the whole technology.
Oh. No, sorry, because I'm trying to get myself invited to that thing. All right. No, you're laughing.
No, I know you're serious though. I'm laughing because Adrian's analogy it makes cool sense.
Yes, like the crypto conference. Like, what is it? What was it called? It's the crypto summit scheduled on the 7th of March. So yeah, like I said, it feels like at the moment Bitcoin's like this teenager that's gone to the Harvard School of Finance and being invited now to the White House after graduating. You've just had like these little introductions of El Salvador that's adopted it and made it legal tender over there, but now the regulations are coming in. It's going into the real world now. But yeah, definitely the popular kid is the way that I view it. But there's going to be a lot of laws, regulations that are coming. And with the big money that's coming, I feel as though, the smart money is going to come in and look for real world businesses to invest in the crypto sphere. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Now I'm curious because of my severe ADHD, trying to piece together where all the other blockchains and everything fit in your analogy. So my head's thinking about that right now. But no, it's a good way to put it, to be perfectly honest.
Like mark my words, by next year you won't need, like, there will be, by next year you will have multiple layers of people involved with blockchain technology. The users of the blockchain technology will not need to know what an L1 means, nor will they care.
No, that's a great.
They'll know what Solana means. They'll know what Bitcoin means. They'll know what Ethereum means. But to them, it'll just mean it's like a coin with a number. Like, they won't need to understand or care about, what the implications are between the two of them. Like the universality of it is going to be, on the user side of things, irrelevant. On the side of things where people are technical, they're also going to now realize that it's no longer a obstacle. The interoperability as an obstacle is not going to be a problem anymore. Like the concept right now is, you must be talking about a bridge. You must be talking about, no, I'm talking about some shit that nobody has seen. That is needed. I'm not here to sell that. I'm just saying
on the chain.
It's going to be on chain. Everything's going to be on chain. And on the dev side, like, the people that are doing the innovating and are able to do it, they'll be able to borrow from all the different chains, from all the different strengths and weaknesses as they need, as they see fit. The liquidity, instead of having like little cups of liquidities that you have to like pour the liquidity into one cup into the other one when they're doing stuff, won't be an issue anymore, because you'll be able to buy CZ's Dogecoin with whatever coin you want, like, directly.
Can't wait for that, because at this point everybody's in this space. Like you said, there was like multiple launches from either celebrities or people in power that launched coins, and LP was literally being rotated from one token to the next, and until we have established that you can't have a Nike and you can't have a Reebok and you can't have an Adidas and you can't have multiple different brands all flourishing all at once, right? If we view that from like a blockchain perspective, you should be able to have something pump on another chain or within the same chain and still have other successful projects pump at the same time.
And not only that, it's going to be a thing where all chains benefit from it, right? Like chains that are hurting for liquidity will no longer hurt for liquidity because the liquidity is irrelevant, right? Like liquidity will be seamlessly injected into their chain as soon as a product is being hosted on that particular chain, right? Because like what's going to happen with my cups analogy is you're just going to have a bathtub, and it's all going to be, all the actual money is going to be in the middle of it. This particular consider this like an L0 is going to be the one that's just in charge of doing it, and it doesn't need to ask permission from anybody in order for it to do what it does. So it's very cool. Like I said, I'm obviously very excited about that thing, but bringing this into the usability, and if I want to bring it back into this concept of Shiba Wing, right? Like Shiba Wing is a very novel approach. This is the first time that I've seen somebody actually integrate a coin. You'll see, let's take the NFT phase. Like you see a lot of places that decided to do NFT releases as a form of a cash grab, right? Like even if it was legit, like cash grab, like I'm not talking about like a scam. If you had some big name brand, my favorite example being the Australian Open. The Australian Open decided to do one of the coolest NFT collections, innovative in a way that provided value to both the NFT users and tennis enthusiasts. Like that was a really, really, really good implementation. It was not just some 10,000 randomized who's got the rarest one type formula. They did it differently, but they did release 10,000 NFTs and they did raise a lot of money. And that was just a cash grab, right? It was like an additional source. And I say cash, I'm not going to use that word because it does imply that, like the intentions were bad. Especially with the Australian Open, the intentions were clearly good because everybody walked away happy, but it's just an additional source of revenue for this business, right? The Shiba Wing is the first time that I've seen a token integrated into a business such that it's not a source of revenue for the business. It's quite, the opposite. It's the source of marketing for the business. And it's actually, instead of revenue, it's an expense for the business. Because I need to remind, for people that don't know, when the Shiba Wing is a restaurant, Shiba Wings is a franchise, currently already in operation and under contract for building additional locales in various different countries and looking to very rapidly expand. 5% of profit goes towards actually buying and burning the Wing token. So the Wing token itself is not a revenue source. It's a revenue, it's an expense, right? So what does Shiba restaurant get in return for that? Free marketing, because you get like the best, the most professional marketing people on the planet, which is crypto. It's like running around shilling your restaurant, right? Like, because the number is going to go up because the restaurant sells chicken wings and they buy the token. People understanding that concept, like even as I explained it to them in person, because I bumped into several people in Denver who I explained to them on with like WhatsApp, and I explained to them what this thing was. They still hadn't understand it. In fact, one of the people that's actually heavily invested in this particular business got bored of my explanation, right? Like he was just like, whatever, I believe that whatever you're doing is good. Like he's just like, move on. Because like I was so excited about how this thing is just innovative. People that were a little bit more, I guess, on the scholastic, on the bigger picture side, they don't care as much about the money and they care more about the use case and the message sense. Like someone like Michael Casey, he was very interested. He's like, wow, that's actually the first time you flip the script. So it's a meme restaurant because it's the logo and the name and the thing. It's all going to be on this brick and mortar. And the token side of things, it's actually going to be an expenditure in the marketing department, like in the finance section of things. So it's a super, super cool way of doing that. Something that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the regulatory risk being off the table. And I believe something that will further be facilitated, when the technology for crypto continues to evolve to the point where, being able to interact with crypto is a lot easier.
That's a great way to put it, and I appreciate your whole synopsis on that. And I think I want to pivot it towards Ransom. I think it was you that had said this on one of our previous streams, and it stuck true to me. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole massive onboarding that people think that we've had to have for adoption, I think, has dissipated a whole bunch. And I think we're pivoting towards mass consumption at this level, because I think it's going to take too long for us to try to massively onboard and educate the normals, right? The normies that are quote unquote coming into the space because of massive retail and things. So do you still ring true to that, the massive consumption factor, where it's going to be like one button pushes to swap things and not have to focus so much on trying to read contracts and trying to be first at everything because of that? Love to hear your thoughts on that, Ransom.
Yeah, I think Jamie put it perfectly when he said seamless, right? This has to be seamless for a lot of people to really want to utilize it. And I think a decoupling in their mind, the mind of a normie, we call them normie, right? Somebody who's just totally not really interested in charts. They don't want to watch charts. They don't want to. So actually, there's a comparison here, right? Cell phone technology. It used to be that if we weren't on the same network, I couldn't call you, right? I could call you if you were AT&T and I was AT&T. That was clunky. That had to go, and seamlessness had to come in. But the fact of the matter is, everybody doesn't have cell phones because they're bullish on cell phones. They have them because it is an integral and fundamental part of their daily life. Blockchain will be that as well. It isn't yet, but it absolutely will be. Most people will not interact with blockchain technology until it is a fundamental aspect of their daily life. And they will be, there's going to be a considerable and consistent aversion to that adoption until it is seamless. And seamlessness is inevitable. It has to be seamless. Or else it's kind of bad, right? It's not innovative in the ways that it needs to be. So yeah, I think that's right. And in a big way, realistically speaking, everybody's all about like onboarding normies. How do we get this new liquidity in and stuff like that? Realistically speaking, if no parties who have never invested in crypto before got into crypto, which is totally impossible, by the way, but let's just say hypothetically, 0 new people get into crypto, this bull run can still be the biggest in history because there is so much money still sidelined. And in fact, tons of liquidity just sitting in stables ready to be deployed as well. Some of those people will jump in. Obviously, every cycle is going to drag people in, but there is so much of a barrier to entry. And a lot of that does just come to inconvenience until we can get things seamless. But again, to Jamie's point, I think that we're actually we're right on the cusp of that. This baby's about to be a man. He's really maturing before our eyes. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to play out. We don't exactly know how that's going to play out, but we know that it must. We know that seamlessness has to come alongside this technology for it to be utilized in the way that it will be.
I mean, I know that it's going to come. That's my alpha. It's got a name. It's got a date.
It's got a name.
It's got the pieces in place, and it's going to happen.
And to Jamie's point, I don't know if we're dancing around the same bush here, but it's coming quite soon. Quite soon, guys.
It is coming quite soon.
Like those smiles. I like the positive sentiment during this time. Again, we're not down, guys. We're definitely not down. We're just in a limbo phase right now, deciding when we grow up fully. And I completely agree with all the synopsis and takes on everything. Again, I think it's such a beautiful place to be in for opportunity, and more specifically with our project, with how serious things are being taken care of on the Web 2 side or the in real life business side. Like there's a lot of moving parts that have been solidified, and I know Jason's very proud of how all those things are coming together. And a lot of people that believe in this project or business, let's not call it a project, I always make that mistake, can see that, and they will see that in the coming short term, midterm, and long term future. So we have lots to look forward to with that, but very much agree with you guys.
Yeah, no, I agree too. And it makes us circle right back to, the sentiment, right? As this adoption takes place and as all of these things take place that are making it more accessible, make more sense to people who are the normies that are coming into it, as well as being useful, right? So bridging that gap between Web 2 and Web 3. We're even seeing with the amount of people who want to partner up with the project. For instance, we have the Staked community manager here. If you want to say anything, we're partners with Staked. If you wanted to run through a little bit of what you guys have going on.
Yeah, I could absolutely do that. You guys hear me just fine?
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, there's a few comments. I was looking for an opportunity to talk a little bit earlier, and I like some of the reference about turning into an adult. I don't know that I agree we're at an adult stage yet as far as the crypto community goes, but I do feel like we're breaking out of adolescence into a teenager. I feel like Jamie might be a little optimistic when he says we'll have all that fluidity within a year, but I like where he's going, and I know there's some great projects out there like Unchained that are doing that, but
October by August 1st, it's going to be here. I'm telling you.
You think so?
I have alpha.
He's got the alpha.
Oh,
He's
God.
got
All right.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, that put a smile on my face. I'm bullish about that. I like the I like where your head's at.
And I put it to the test this past week. That's part of the reason why I went to Denver. I wanted to confirm the veracity of this particular claim that I'm making, and it passed the tests at the highest levels, and so it's
all right.
It's there, it's happening.
All right, we're looking forward to it. And I've got some insight into some of that myself, but I don't know if it's that. So maybe I'm looking forward to October either way. As far as Staked goes, I know, I don't know if you are very familiar with that, Jamie, and the rest of the crew. I know I've seen a lot of you in a lot of different spaces. We, too, are a tokenized business. And I think I DM'd you the one time looking for a different word because I also hate project. I don't like what that insinuates. But a tokenized business, getting off the ground, registered in the UK. We are the parent company of our first primary, I say utility. I know I'm still trying to break off of that one, too. But that will be OrderUp. OrderUp is a delivery app. So we go hand in hand with what Wings is doing. You guys are providing the food, and we're looking for a way to get that to the end user, the customer base, and providing a sustainable solution to do that. For those that may be on the backside of this, you might understand the problem and that we're solving. There are a lot of delivery services out there. Most people don't realize just how much that costs. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I had some dinner being made and some blenders going off. Anyway, so Staked is coming out of the woodwork and fixing a solution or fixing a problem out there where most delivery services are charging people somewhere between like 15 and 30 and as high as 43% on these orders. And the reality of it is just not sustainable. Like restaurants are crumbling left and right, and the ones that aren't, they're only surviving by passing that cost on to the end user. And so what you see is not only through inflation, but just rising cost of food. And we're trying to rein that in and through the efficiencies of blockchain, offer a sustainable solution at a reasonable cost. Like we're coming in at 4% and through some massive networking, and we're going to be launching in the UK, but we're just offering a reasonable price solution to a problem plaguing the industry. And we will be operating throughout the UK. And I know Wings is going to be opening up ghost kitchens, and we're going to be kind of growing and doing things hand in hand. And so hopefully,
I know nothing about this. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit more about like the model? I'm curious.
Sure. In what regard? I'm not sure because I know we talked about it. And I'm in the TG quite a bit. But
tokenized, these are just words to me, right? So
right.
Like, what are they to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you?
Okay, so tokenizing business in a way. So we've got the application in OrderUp. That'll be the first primary utility that Staked offers. To most end users, Web2 people, this is going to look like any other delivery app, right? So it's going to function the same way. The tokenized business is a way that is sort of a crowdfunding way. Anybody can buy the token. You can participate and be sort of a shareholder, and revenue that flows through our system will be directed back to the holders of the token, much like Wing does with the 5% that you guys offer. Ours will be a similar offering from the revenue generated and fed back into holders.
Awesome, got it. And how are you just now on the other side of things? How are you fixing crumbling business side of things, just like the not the crypto side of the question. Because like
So
I
it's
know
just the
very little
offering.
about
Yeah.
the industry. I just know that it's tough, and I know that it's hard for somebody to do their own like Uber Eats, right? Like
Right. So business in general, restaurants operate on a pretty thin margin as it is. Like if you had a 10% profitability or 15% as a restaurant, you had a stellar year. And most of that is being completely absorbed by these delivery services. I mean, they grew so big so fast, most people, and they're kind of out marketing the mom and pop shops. We are kind of, I guess we built a delivery service, an application that I don't want to undo anything by saying it's got less bells and whistles, but it's visually amazing. And it's got a lot of bits and pieces that all the other ones, the big names in the space, like really, like they market like this is why we're so much better than everybody else. We do have all that. We're just not as greedy. Like at the end of the day, most of these places spend so much on marketing and they spend so much on developing these businesses that they kind of name their own price. They create these monopolies. That we're able to come out and offer a 4% service charge when everybody else is charging 15 to 40, which results in insane savings to restaurants that desperately need it.
oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. And that's actually something that I think the restaurants as a whole could use it, because I do understand enough to know that I don't understand a lot of it. But what I do understand is that, yes, the restaurants, they need to capitulate to these delivery services in order to drive volume, right? Like to stay relevant and so popular. And they end up actually just kind of like, breaking even at best with these things, right? So the fact that you're able to kind of take a crack at that is good for the restaurant business in general. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things to the back end chefs and people that own their own restaurants that are at the backbone that kind of built this. People that understand the industry innately and understand the flaws in the system that's being kind of pushed on them, and people that just want to make a difference in the space for their crew, the people that they grew up with, the people that were in the restaurants. They're just looking to utilize the efficiencies of blockchain from the I say how fast you can transact to being able to automate a lot of systems, and that's a big cost these big players take on. So it's just, I don't know, we're able to use the technology that's available and build something better for the space. It has already been approved by Google. Yeah.
It's an easy sell for you guys as well over there at Staked. Just the savings alone, you can just contact any restaurant and you'd instantly spark interest within your project, right? Into your real world
What business doesn't want to save?
But
Yeah.
as 100%. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's great to partner with you guys. But on top of that, the technology is advancing as well, like drone technology and robot technology. That's like I've seen these robots that we had a bit of a discussion about as well, where they're actually traveling on the footpath and able to go away. AI robots are actually delivering the food to people's houses as well. So it's technology is changing, and with that, so all the cost cuttings and savings on that aspect as well. So yeah, it's definitely the way that the world is heading, and yeah, great to perform that with you as well, to grow our business and to support you guys at the same time.
In the space, and not like I'm not throwing, and you guys have so many big names tied into Wings, and I think that gives you a lot of recognition. A little underrepresented, some of that in our space is like John Buskey. I know he's kind of like a really big name throughout the UK. He's our CEO. He was an executive chef for the Rangers. Like he ran the kitchen for the Highland Games. Like he's got a lot of contacts and a lot of experience in the space. And they're fully docs team. The app itself has been approved by Google and been approved by Apple. We're on the precipice of actually launching that. We've been building it for over almost 2 years now, and just kind of polishing up the back end. But when I say things are ready to go, we are absolutely ready to rip roar. We're on the Binance chain. We are about to move to Solana. Everything is kind of like being built on the backside to transition over to that and capture the regulatory compliance that Solana offers over BNB's. A lot of very uncertain, especially since we're eyeballing the United States after the UK, and just kind of getting everything and in motion for that to happen. So I just really liked Anonymous with the vision and kind of the path that Staked is taking, and we just seem like we were very complementary in direction. And if anybody had any questions specifically about that, I mean, I'd be happy to answer. I don't want to take over space because there's definitely wing space, Wings and Partners, but I'd love to answer any questions you guys had specifically.
Nah, man, we're here to talk about like crypto innovation, like good ideas, bad ideas, gossip. Any new shit coins coming up that you guys want to drop? Anything goes here, man. Anything goes. And we also got Sassy up here, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about Sassy there, Ransom?
I would love to. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. Yeah, we're actually really excited. I can't say the name of it yet. I'm so tempted to, but I'm not going to. But we actually just signed up. We just signed a deal with an incredible partner, an affiliate marketing partner, and it's sort of a dream project. It's a name. Again, I'm not going to say it. I'm so tempted to. It's a name every single.
No, stop. I'm going to help you out a little bit because because it sometimes helps to just to vent and to offload. The worst part of like doing stuff sometimes, especially in crypto. Let's just take a shit project for an hour, like an NFT project, just so we can like distance ourselves from it. Like I've seen so often the devs, the communities, come on devs, why aren't you marketing more? Why aren't you shilling more? Why aren't you doing more? Right. And oftentimes they're like, dude, we're working on a partnership or very specifically, if you're going to list like on an exchange, a centralized exchange, most of them are pretty strict about you not telling anybody ahead of time because they want to be the ones that do it. Right. And so it's like, sometimes you can't even tell them that you're going to list on any exchange, and so it's like, I promise, I swear to God, like once, if I could only tell you, but it's going to ruin the thing. And so, yeah, I feel you very much.
It's like, I'm dying to say it and I know I can't,
yeah,
so I won't, but I swear
you will be able to. So
it within the weeks, you know what I mean? It's like I said, the hands have been shaked, the paper's signed, the ink is dry, the deal is done. We just have not made our first post about it yet, but it's literally a dream project or a dream partner for us to work with. It's the name recognition is universal. Let's just say Sassy is a character from the Big Les show, right? He's a real degen, a real stoner, a real druggo in the show, right? And so a lot of our audience they love the show, they lean in that direction. This is absolutely a dream partnership for us to have inked, and I'm telling you, every single one of you who are listening, everyone listening knows this name, recognizes this name, and everyone recognizes this name. It's actually quite phenomenal, and that's going to be that's an affiliate marketing partnership. So we'll be promoting their products and getting revenue from that. We've been just very heavily focused on that aspect of we run this quite like a business. I was really blessed to meet the team that I did. We work extremely well together, and we've met with incredible success, and that our work style, our differences, everything like that, it's all very complementary, and so we've just gotten better and better and better at this as we go. Kind of like what Jamie was saying earlier too, like our market cap, our price, our chart, man, we barely even check the thing anymore. Like, it's great, we're working for our community, we're working for the bags and stuff, but we're creating revenue on a consistent basis that is irrelevant to the chart. And the idea is one hand washes the other, right? Revenue brought in from these partnerships, from these other avenues, which we've got multiple lined up. Those go into the chart, and then honestly, each one hand washes the other. Each leg of this business that we've started will be running together, right? You run the race with both legs. So we're really excited about that partnership. It's going to open the door for a lot more partnerships as well. This partnership also is just absolutely phenomenal with Wings. So we're really, really, really excited about that. And to touch on that again, we're a fan token derived from a character from the Big Les show. It's a independently created cartoon, hilarious stuff, free on YouTube, guys. I highly recommend it. The Big Les show. It's free to watch. Really, really funny stuff. Really, really great sci-fi concepts in there as well. I would say it has almost a Rick and Morty-esque vibe to it in terms of its style of humor, just to give people sort of a point of reference, though it's far superior. We have been building our social media presence for about 6 months. We took this project over, and so we've been working on social medias. Our Instagram and TikTok have, I think it's like 130,000 followers collectively now. We've really ballooned those out, and that's been our primary focus. We just wanted to really, really drive down that path. And getting numbers like that, you get to a point where you literally can just monetize your the reach that we have, right? We have really good back and forth and rapport with our audience. That's all, very organic engagement. We get tons of comments. I think we had 12 million views across our posts in the last 60 days. So it's really, really phenomenal. And that growth has been consistent and steady. We went down that path without a guarantee of success, but we stayed the course and just have been dedicated, refined our approaches. We're getting only better and better at it. So that growth is actually increasing. I think we get something like net, not even just total, but net 1,000 additional followers every day at this point. So it's kind of snowballing. So yeah, we're really excited for that. And realistically speaking, we'll never monetize ourselves from the chart. Kind of like the wing thing, like what you guys were talking about. Realistically speaking, we're going to make a ton of money on the side and pour that into the chart. Our token project will end up being, I wouldn't say a money sink, right? But it's just like, it's an expense. It's going to come down to being an expense, but that's because it is almost a obligation on our end. We want to achieve success on that level as well. We could, basically abandon it if we wanted and just go the route of the socials and the exposure in that regard and stuff. But we're dedicated degens at heart, right? We want chart to go up. We want number go up. We want all of our holders to be happy. So we're going to make sure that both aspects of this flourish. But realistically speaking, we didn't know what was going to be the success point first, right? Was the market going to take off? Was the chart, was the token going to take off? And then, hey, say it had, we would use that success to bolster these socials. Instead, it was the socials that took off first. And we're really actually quite happy with that because it's made us bear market proof in a certain sense, right? You get your revenue from something totally non-crypto related, and then just utilize that to prop the rest of your operations up. And so, yeah, we're really, really excited about that. That's, again, I know it's a tease, right? But that's going to be announced within maybe probably, we're aiming for like next this coming weekend. We'll be announcing that partnership, and yeah, we're really, really excited about that. But in general, I think that a lot of these, look, every token is a business. Some of them you build a beautiful ship and just cast it out with no crew and hope that it just sails on its own and makes it to the destination. Other people, they man that ship and they will weather it through bad waters. You know what I mean? We've been there. We've fought through choppy waters, and our team has gotten stronger and better together. And so now we've got these really, really lucrative revenue generative sources that are kind of coming to us. This is the crazy thing, right? That it's a dream partnership. They came to us. Because of our socials numbers. So yeah, we're really, really excited about the continued growth on that aspect. And then honestly, we've just barely scratched the surface on this thing with Wing. So we just can't wait to see what we're going to do with the IP and stuff like that. Really, really excited.
It does feel good when they come to you. I know
Yes,
that.
it does.
I know that feeling because one of the rules that at least the Shiba Wings people know very well that's like my hard no is like if somebody wants us to pay to whatever show up on their spaces or promote or whatever, like it's a hard no. It's a hard no because we get offers to people to pay us to come on this spaces, like by the way, which we also turn down because we want these conversations to be genuine and we don't want there to be any conflicts of interest, and we want to actually be able to say whatever we want to say without having to tiptoe around stuff or have it be like some hour or 2 hour long infomercial where it's just like this it's when it's genuine, right? Like that's when people want stuff to work out. That's when the best amount of value, right? That's the as far as I'm concerned, like the only way to get listed on an exchange is when they list you without your permission, right? Like that's the way to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, like that's or when people come to you, you do sometimes need to throw out you need to cast the net out to let people know you're out there and pass the word, right? But then the interest has to then come back to you, right? Like because that's validation of the greatest level, where you're not just trying to prop up this image of legitimacy and yeah, it's the ultimate endorsement. So yeah, congrats. Can't wait to hear it.
Thank you. But again, I don't want to downplay the wing partnership, and you guys already know about that one. So like, look.
Well, I mean, there's
already
nothing
super close.
nothing better than this one. So
That's
I don't,
exactly right.
I don't care. I don't care if the next one is Donald Trump along with Kim Kardashian
Whoa, hey.
and
No.
and CZ together. Like doesn't compare to your partnership with us.
That's
It
right.
won't-
So we
it
already
won't-
started
it won't
off
make
so
me feel
strong
smaller.
with the very best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, sorry guys, I've been doing a few things behind the scenes for the RWA side
No,
of
you've
things.
been doing them in front of the scenes. I hate to tell
Oh,
you,
in front of the scenes, yeah.
You're on camera.
That's true.
I've been
I know,
seeing you this entire time.
I've hit my camera off when I've had to multitask.
You got to do this to be behind the scenes.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But I brought in John. John's one of the founders from Staked. Thought we could hear from him as well. John, if you're there, welcome in, brother.
How are you? Good to finally chat to you, Jason. I know we always say we're going to do this, but I always get caught up in meetings and tied up in things. So I seen Thomas was up here, father, so I thought I'd jump up and just hang out with you guys, have a wee chat. So
awesome. Yeah, beauty. Been waiting.
As you can tell, the accent, I'm from Scotland, so yeah. A bit like Jason, a pretty similar background actually. You know, both played soccer, both became chefs. You know, I was executive chef for the Commonwealth Games in 2014. I was executive chef for the Olympics in 2012. You know, so I'm pretty well doxed in the space. You know, no anywhere I can really hide. So you go on my LinkedIn, you can pretty much see everything I've done in my career. So sorry, I'm struggling with the flu, guys. I've been that makes my Scottish accent even more worse, sniffling and things like that. So yeah, we built Staked probably 2 years ago now, just over 2 years. So probably one of these projects that not many people have heard about, because we had a strong belief that whatever money we raised through obviously launch and pre-sale and things should go to build sustainability and utility basically. So, you know, we've not spent money on marketing, we've not wasted our time, we've been in development for 2 years now, building a system. And people say, oh yeah, a food delivery app, it sounds pretty basic and pretty straightforward, but it's actually 8 different platforms, you know, working in unison with each other. You've got 2 Android apps, you've got 2 iOS apps, you've got business portals, admin portals, management portals, web portals. You know, we've got business to business portals selling hardware, you know, that all interlink and work together. So for us, it's been a huge 2 years building this system. We have been approved on Google, we've been approved on Apple. We're just working through our security audits just now, just tweaking some things, you know, before we can get the system live and rolled out in the UK. Staked itself as a UK limited company, so is the utility order up. We structured it in a way that Web3 regulation, as you all know, there is no regulation. So you take that grey area, you know, those documents, try and decipher them a little bit, you know, pair that up with some tech company regulations, and you can sort of get a blueprint and a roadmap of where you have to go with regulation in the UK. So we've structured it in a way that Stakes the parent company of OrderUp, and any future RWBs that we launch will have be their own standalone UK companies. The profit feeds back to Staked, and the way we launch the token and way we structure things, because our holders obviously help fund that RWB, you know, we can then pay our holders royalties. So, you know, that's how we've managed to keep the regulation pretty straightforward in the UK. You know, anyone that holds tokens is basically almost like a shareholder idea. You know, they're entitled to those royalty payments because we obviously get a working real world utility out there. So anything the app generates, we pay, I think it works out about 31.5% of any net profit raised, feeds back into our holders as USDC basically. So it's pretty exciting for us. You know, we've got other initiatives with business and how we, you know, improve how businesses generate money through our system, how drivers keep 100% of that money, because just now your Uber Eats, your Just Eats, your Deliveroo's, they take like 20%, even the drivers' revenue. So, we've got driver apps for iOS and Android too. We provide that to the businesses for free. We provide that to the drivers for free. So we don't actually make any money off the driver software at all. And what that does is within the system just now, if you use Just Eats just now and you don't take their 15% package for their drivers, the end user actually can't track where their order is within that system. They're just reliant on the food showing up in time. So we basically, whether the businesses want to use their own drivers or whether they'd want to use our drivers down the line, we just provide that software for free. So the whole point is that we save those businesses as much money as possible. We do as much for them as free. We've got partnerships with Blue Star and Star Global, who are the biggest software and hardware providers in the world of point of sale systems. Whether it's, till systems, card machines, anything, they loved our story. So we've sort of partnered up with them and they give us all the material at cost out of Holland. So, instead of someone paying £400 or for a printer or for a tablet, we can get it 50%. And the businesses can buy that directly in their business portal. And our whole business model is let's save businesses as much money as possible, because as Jason knows, if he finishes a year with 11%, 15% net profit, that's a really good year. So if we can save businesses another 15% on top of that, that's the difference between staying in business and going out of business for a lot of people these days.
100%, you're absolutely right. I'm really excited with what you guys have got going, really revolutionizing that delivery space. And I've got a lot of stuff to talk to you about, John. I know Jamie hates me conducting meetings in the space we won't talk here, but we've really aligned up in UK with Cloud Kitchens again, right? So we're about to finalize. I've got my legals involved at the moment, obviously doing their due diligence, but we've got UK that we're going to be partnering with the same company, Cloud Kitchens. We've got US as well that we're about to partner with for Cloud Kitchens, and obviously Australia. And they've actually offered us, which is pretty crazy, right, to buy any land and build our sites globally. And this is a massive, massive play for us moving forward. So I did speak to a couple of the guys, John's got a great skill set, guys. If you ever need a free ticket to a football game, any game, he's John up. He's the man, and he'll take you guys, wherever you need to go. But apart from that, on top of everything else that you've got going, John, there's a lot here. And obviously, I want to chat to you about a couple of those big brands that we're aligning with in the UK. And
we're ready to get flying. We've got a business development manager in the Midlands just now, and he's obviously been doing a lot of networking, going to a lot of shows, speaking to a lot of businesses. We started pre-onboarding a lot of these people. And this is the other thing people don't realise. We don't have to compete with Uber Eats and Just Eat. People think, the first question we've got asked in the last 2 years, people say, how are you going to compete with Uber Eats and Just Eat? And my answer is, we've never promised to compete with these guys. We can't compete with them. That's the honest answer. These guys spend tens of millions or billions in marketing every year. But what people don't realise is there's a whole middle tier market of food apps out there. There's probably thousands of food apps out there that you've never heard of. And these guys, I can give you examples of them, but I'm not going to say their names live in a chat. But some of these guys are doing like 79,000 orders a day, and you've never heard of them. So my whole marketing philosophy was, well, what is this middle tier food apps? What do they look like? How do they operate? And how can we dominate them and create our own market in between Uber Eats and Just Eats and sit above those middle tier apps, and sit underneath the big players and just soak up some of their business too? Because in London just now, these guys are charging 42% in fees. 42%. If you're a restaurant or a business, how can you survive on 42%?
You just can't. Yeah,
you can't.
You can't.
And the average person in London eats out 9 times a week. They use food apps 9 times a week. So if you can go along with a sustainable business model, and you can approach businesses, say we don't charge commission, we don't take subscription fees. We're going to give businesses their first 4 weeks for free, and we're going to take a 4% operation cost and give you free driver software. It's a no-brainer for a lot of these businesses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've built our whole business model up. We've got a 3 to 5 year business plan and growth strategy built around that business model, not including all the other things that we're looking to add and buy and add on to that. You know, V2s, V3s, American market. Like, we'll literally get this whole thing planned out. We've been planning it for years. Do you know what I mean? So, I get pretty excited talking about it. I know Thomas gets pretty excited talking about it because he goes on a lot of spaces. You know, I see him pop up in a lot of spaces for us. But, you know, people don't realize the amount of effort and planning, financial planning, you know, strategy planning, market rollout. Like, Web3 is such a small side of business, you know, unless you've got a proper structure and business-minded people behind the project, you know. And it's the first question I would ask, like, you know, people promise you the world in Web3. They promise you the world. We're going to build this. We're going to build that. We're going to build blockchains. The first question is, do you know how much money it costs to build a blockchain? You know, so, you know, that's the first thing you have to work out, your financial aspect to all your business model. How much it's going to cost you to get from A to B in this market. So, you know, we're pretty lucky. We've paid for everything now. You know, we've paid for all our audits, all our security audits, we've paid for the development over the last 2 years. And by the way, we built this through a bear market. People said we were absolutely crazy when we launched. You know, we launched with probably one of the smallest launches in BSC. You know, we had a failed first launch. We had to go back to the drawing board and say, how do we get this message across? Like, people just don't get why food's coming into Web3. You know, people didn't really understand back then what a RWA is or an RWB. Like, they don't get that business model. And what people don't realize in Web3 is that in the next 5 years, most projects are probably going to be tokenized businesses or some sort of business model. When you talk about Nike, when you talk about, you know, all these companies that are coming into the multiverse, they're selling their clothes through multiverses now. You know, you buy a cool pair of shoes in the multiverse through Nike, you know. But that's the way the world's going to go in the next 5 years. Every business is going to start having some sort of tokenized avenue or revenue streams coming in. So, yeah, I could talk about this stuff all day, but I'm not going to take up the whole space talking about it. So.
Love it, John. Love it. You know, we're both, you know, doing what needed to be done a long time ago, right? So it's really exciting the way we're innovating and building that framework for other business to be able to tokenize, you know, what they have and create opportunities and bring in that extra additional revenue stream. So really exciting times, my friend, and I can't wait for us to smash it out and really take over the UK together collectively.
Honestly, it was amazing you guys coming along, because when we came into the space, you know, I loved Web3. When I came into this space, I came into space as a holder, you know, and I wanted to do something. You know, I lost a lot of businesses during COVID, you know, it was pretty devastating. And I sat there and I thought, well, what skill set can I bring into Web3? Well, food is my skill set, you know, so how can I then improve my industry using Web3 technologies, and what can we do different compared to what other people are doing? Do you know what I mean? So when we came into this space, we were probably one of the first companies that actually dealt with food. I don't think Web3 really got what we were trying to do, you know, and now we're seeing more and more projects pop in that sort of align with our values and morals and direction of where we want to take this. You know what I mean? So it's pretty exciting for us as a business to see other businesses coming out of the space now that we can actually work alongside. You know, we can actually support each other, because we're tackling the same industry, we're tackling it from different viewpoints, and it just merges really nicely together.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And you know, there's just so much going on. Like, I'll go through like what's currently happening so you guys can see, you know, what's about to take place for Shiba Wings globally. But we just finished off all the approvals last night for Melbourne. And that's been a long process for us, back and forth with the build out, because obviously we've combined two shops, right? So we moved the location from the original side that we looked at. We ended up taking a bigger side, combining two shops together. There's a big build out there, and Precision Group, they're doing an amazing job. So that was finalized. These guys are basically contributing 300 to 400K on our build out, and that's how much they're investing in us, right? So really excited there. That'll get submitted in the coming days. We'll wait for the council to approve, and then we'll start sharing out some plans to the community so you can see what the design looks like. It's currently worked on in the back end with our architects. We've also, on top of obviously the expansion that we currently have, Jamie has done some incredible things for us behind the scenes, which we won't leak out yet. But coming from that, we are now in a position where we'll be opening up the first headquarters in Sydney, Australia. So that'll be coming very soon. The team have been putting together the org chart for staffing that facility, and that'll come with the training center on top of what's currently being constructed on Melbourne. So now not only will we have a Melbourne flagship store, we'll have a corporate head office in Sydney on top of a training center there. We're also setting up I won't say the location yet, but in one of the beautiful countries overseas, there'll be another head office that'll be set up there with another training center to facilitate the growth. We are in the process now of hiring industry experts to join our team. We've decided collectively as a brand and what we've been able to achieve and put together that we are going to keep this very close to us. We're going to manage the whole entire franchise expansion globally, with myself leading at the helm, with obviously Jamie and the team contributing in their respective fields and aspects moving forward. And on top of the UK and the USA deals, we've now got access to over 200 ghost kitchens. So, it's really a massive achievement what the team have done on top of what we already had and how quickly we've been able to push over the past couple of months, specifically the past few weeks. We get everybody talking and asking, what's going on? What's Shiba Wings doing? Why is it like this? Why is the chart like this? This is what we're doing, right? This is what's going to pump the chart, right? The actual asset behind the token. So, and we've been very attentive, right, with the community and jumping in spaces and in TG to give the alpha and drop a few things there. But this is what we've been working towards, right? What the real goal is to get a brand out there, really innovate the space and, take over in that fast food industry. And that's always been my goal, was to leave that legacy. And, we're really achieving that. I couldn't be any more prouder than what the team's been able to put together. And Jamie, I thank you, sir, for what you've been able to do for us and open those doors. If you're holding that token, you're lucky. You're lucky to hold our token. And if you're a day one holder, you're even luckier, right? And if you understand what we're trying to do here, you're going to be part of that amazing journey that, we all know that's about to come true. It already has come true, right? It's just about getting that momentum and being able to fund, that expansion collectively and align ourselves with the right people moving forward. So I'm really excited, guys.
I feel that the obligation to say this on every space, because I'm going to take recordings of them all and make a nice montage, like a big fuck you. You should have listened to me. Right. And I was telling this to people, but I was right now. This is currently one of the other conversations and themes that were in Denver was the idea that crypto has always meant to challenge the status quo, the Wall Street, you have this concentrated group of power that can manipulate, that really pull the strings, and you need to know what to do. And even to this day, and crypto is supposed to fix that. And then people are complaining that crypto in itself is kind of starting to adopt some of this oligarchical structure, if that's even a word, of concentration of power. And maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But for this instant in time, the Wing token is at a price where only people that have smaller amounts of money or want to put in smaller amounts of money are able to get in. In other words, we have tons of rich people that are waiting for the price to go up before they can go in, because they can't feasibly do it at this rate because of the slippage, and they get killed with it, and they know what they're doing. So they're sitting there watching, waiting for the price to go up before they can buy in. This is the one time where the script has been flipped, whereas the little guys actually have a severe upper hand on the big guys. The Wing is not a meme token. Jason, if people are bugging you as to why the price isn't going up, block them. Unblock them a year from now. This thing's not going up tomorrow. The token price isn't going up the day after. I could tweet. Sometimes it goes up and then it goes back down, and the market goes up and then it goes back down. This token is the opposite of a meme coin. It's an actual investment. If you're looking for diversifying your portfolio and having some high risk and low risk or whatever, this thing is a straight up investment. and the only thing you're speculating on is the taste of the chicken wings, right? Like at this point, like your risk is that the chicken doesn't taste good, or well, doesn't taste well. I don't know how to conjugate it properly. That's really your risk, right? But your time horizon here is the expansion of this restaurant and the expansion of this business is what's going to be responsible for this thing. You will also never see this token go to the moon, because if it goes to the moon, I'm personally going to sell my supply down and personally rug it to make it normal, right? Because this thing is a slow and steady, like, and I own a lot of coins because I like every time it dips, I buy it. And I have so many wallets with tokens because I don't want to look like I'm the whale that can concentrate. The thing is, it is going to go up, and it's going to go up in a matter of months, years, and then like decades on to come. This is a thing that's going to go up. Mark my words. If you own the token, don't sell it when it just pops up on a random tweet. Hold on to it. If you're getting your airdrops or you're claiming your pre-sales, hold it, please. And I'm not telling you because I care about the chart. The chart means nothing to me. The chart does not fund the business, right? The chart is there because we have a huge, very loyal, very wonderful community that's going to do us the favor to shill the business, the restaurant business, right? That's the role of the token. And as soon as that number starts going up, then that's when they're going to start getting to work and doing their job. Jason's job is to open up more sites. The token holders, their job is to just be excited about holding this thing, and the number is going to go up. It will go up. You now have an advantage to get in at a price that's good. The price will go up. It's not going to behave like a meme coin. It's going to behave more like what's a Berkshire Hathaway, right? That thing is just a nice vertical, like a slanted line that just goes up and up and up and up and up and up. And the reason why I can make that statement is because math, once again, it's tied into the revenues. It's an expense. It's a business expense whereby we will be buying the chart as part of this model. So anyways.
That's the thing, Jamie. The charts are relevant. When you've got an RWB or an RWA, whatever you want to call it, the charts are relevant.
No, it is irrelevant. What I feel bad for is if people aren't buying the token or if they're selling the token, I feel like this is like an abdication of power. This is negligent. This is incorrect for me to keep the secret to myself. So you're right. I don't actually care about the chart. People are welcome to sell it because I will be buying whatever they sell.
Yeah, but the chart will take care of itself when the time is right. Like
That's
Jason's
correct.
got proof of concept, and I say this to my community all the time. I've said it in pre-sale. Say if you're wanting a quick pump and dump, or you're wanting something that's going to give you good returns in 6 months, I said this isn't the project for you. Because this is a 2 to 5 year business plan. So, if you want to stick it out that long and see the returns when we've got proof of concept, and royalties are flowing back to holders. I actually have holders that would be upset if we added more holders to our count just now. Because the more holders, then the more diluted those royalties become, So we actually have an ongoing joke in our community that, let's stop trying to shill the project. Let's just keep it at the holder base it's at just now. So, I've always said the charts are irrelevant. The charts will take care of themselves when people actually see the proof of concept. And Jason's
when I spoke
building
earlier about the
issue.
culture being bad right now, that's exactly what I was talking
Yeah.
about. It's fast money. People just want it so quick. And it's a lot of times it's enticing, right? They want to tick it out. They want an escape from the mundanity. I get that. I totally get that. And the appeal is there because they're seeing the success stories, right? You hear about, hey, somebody, turned $100 into whatever and this and that. And so they're going to the casino and they're pulling the slots. Smart money is slow money. Smart money has patience. And fortunes, if you make your fortune overnight with luck, you'll lose it the same way. Unfortunately, that's just always been the case.
Yeah, I find the biggest problem with Web3 is the more real you look, the harder it is to convince people. Do you know what I mean? Like Jason's got a business model there, I've got a business model there, there'll be other projects with solid business models there, but the more real you look, the more, the less people trust you in Web3. If I told
Try
people...
convincing somebody that you're real when your name is Shiba and your logo is a dog.
I tell you, Shiba was one of the first coins I ever bought. It was the first coin that got me into Web3, so it's pretty funny now that I'm working partnered up with Jason and things like that, and he owns the brand into Shiba. It feels like I've came full circle in life. You know,
It's so
Yeah.
funny because it's actually one of my biggest assets too back in the day, right? When I actually really got into buying tokens. Like I got introduced into the space in 2017 from my head chef that bought Tron. This thing had 8 or 9 zeros when he bought it. He bought $50,000 worth back then. He said, "You need to buy this thing," right? And I had no idea. Put $50 later, see it at $5,000. Years later, I didn't touch it. I called him up. He didn't answer. He goes, "Mate, I'm on an island. I hope you are too." I was like, "Damn, that guy would have made mint, right?" And that's when I started, to tap in a bit more. And then when Shiba came out, I went pretty heavy on that. And not that I made anything from it. If anything, a big loss, right? Because I missed the big pump and everything like that. But he invested very heavily as that FOMO gets created. You want to jump on that bandwagon. I already had that logo at that point, and I don't know why I didn't invest heavy, prior to it. It would have been a very different situation, right? So I shoot myself for that one. But yeah, look, that's what brought me in it. And man, now to have the thing and own it, people were like, "What are you doing, man? You're silly. You're ridiculous. Why are you grabbing this logo? Why are you trademarking it? What is your plan?" I go, "Watch me build a brand. It's got an identity. Watch me build a brand and really attach it to it." So it's really exciting, man. It's just it's overwhelming, right, with what we've been able to achieve and how we've all collabed together. And meeting you, John, like my team love you. Like they just can't wait to meet you out there. Like I think they just want all the benefits that come with it. Well, I do. But
Do you know what it is, Jason? Is people don't understand what it takes to build a business. They really don't. In Web3, people buy into a concept, but they think this concept just magically appears overnight and that it just gets delivered at a very minimum cost, and it's easy to do these things. People don't realize the planning that it takes to actually put a bit of strategy behind a plan and build it out. And, you're talking about adding staff, it's not just about finding staff, it's about finding the right people to do the right jobs for you, within that budget too, expansion plans, it's a huge, it's a 24-hour operation. I'm probably like you, I'm quite fortunate that I've got people nearly in every single time zone, so we're literally working 24 hours a day with 3 different dev teams all around the world working on different aspects of the business model, so people don't understand the time and effort and the very minimum budget that a lot of projects have to actually build this out, and some of us are working miracles out there with very little funding. So, and it seems we seem to be the projects that don't get people throwing 10 million at us to pump and dump us in 24 hours. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, we're almost there. You guys are actually knocking it out of the ballpark just now. You guys are actually expanding a lot quicker than I thought you would. You're
same. We're gonna slow it down a little bit, right? Quality and control. And we had a big meeting yesterday about this. We're like, okay, hold up, we got to slow down. I can't be in all these places, and I want to. Like, I need to be in all these places, right, to ensure every time we roll something out, that control, that leadership, and not only that, I'm making sure that all those, we're dotting the I's, we're crossing the T's, and it's hitting my expectations. Obviously, we've done business I've done a lot of different businesses. And when it comes to food, I can see when I used to move from one venue to another, the drop that one venue would have, right? When I used to do the Hooters operations, I noticed that massively around Australia. Like I'd be in one location and, we'd fix one site up, spend a lot of months there. Then once I get to another site, you just start seeing a bit of a small drop, nothing big. And obviously it's just finding that right person to be able to replicate what you do. And I've been lucky enough to find them in my team. Like I've got an amazing team and certain individuals there that replicate, exactly what I've been looking for. And when I partnered up with my first ops manager, Maz, who's been with me now for 8 years, right? We've been on that journey together and he's leading up the operations for us globally. I was like, finally, I found the guy that can do what I do, right? And I found another one of them and I had a chat with him. He's in my team. His name's Adrian. He's right here, Raging Crypto, Shiba Wings commander. And I said to him yesterday, me and him, we had a bit of a chat last night. I said, mate, and Maz, and we said, it's very hard because we were speaking about the expansion in UK and US and all these deals that we've got going and how we're going to be able to manage them globally with the team we have. And we've got people positioned everywhere, right? Which is great. We're fortunate to have that. But it's like, man, I was explaining to him, the story about meeting Maz and how particular I am. And it took me even like 6 years before I stopped getting off Maz's back. And he's my main ops manager, right? I'm always like the mum, the buzzing bee, checking in on him on little things that I shouldn't because of my OCD. Yeah. And it took that long, and now we're explaining it to Adrian. We finally found you, and you'd be the right guy for us because of your skill set and how easily you adapt. You got the passion. If you got the passion, you got that fire inside you. Anything's achievable, and the whole team here have such great passion. They don't take days off, right? I'm trying to force them. Take a day off, take some time off. It's like you got to sleep. You can't sleep 2 hours a day. It just doesn't work. But I'm loving the grind. I'm loving what the team's delivering, and we will try and slow it down, to ensure that quality control.
You've got to slow it down. I mean, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and you need to get your foundation solid because everything's built on top of that. So it's a mistake a lot of people make where they start rushing, pushing expansion, but then they're on shaky foundations, and it just takes one thing to go wrong and the brand gets damaged. So we're in this exact same boat. Do you know what I mean? We slow things down when it comes to like security audits and different things. We just say to the community, this is where we're at. If we don't get it right first time, then it's getting it right is detrimental to your brand, and your foundations of how you're going to build things moving forward. So you guys need to slow down and probably take days off and sleep.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. We've got to get some rest. But no, it's exciting, right? It's really exciting, and we're going to put up. The team will share out, we're now in that process of hiring more of those industry experts to join us globally across UK, USA. So the guys will post it up. So if you're listening out there and you're in the food space, or you don't necessarily have to be in the food space, but you've got that right skill set that we're looking for, there'll be an email there to follow through, and then we'll be going through an interview process in the coming days. So we are moving quite fast, but it's going to be under control and ensure that we do things right.
Can I just point something out? I just pulled out a chart while you guys were talking. Once again, we called the bottom on Solana. If you pull Solana chart up, literally 1400 hour local, or 1600, like 4 o'clock my time, was literally the bottom. As soon as the spaces started, again. I don't understand what happens, but whenever we start the spaces, it's happened. Like now, I used to joke about it and be like, haha, it's funny, we fixed it, but now it's like not funny. Now I'm curious as to why this keeps happening.
I've got some insight into that if you guys would like. It's not actually me.
Please.
Can I have a guest come on just briefly? It won't take long. Just a second, guys. Trust me when I say this is kind of.
I trust you. This is.
Frankly, folks.
So you're only live with like 130,000 people watching, so why not?
130. He said 130,000 people. I don't know if that's enough. Frankly, Wing Token. They're calling it Wing Token. These guys are very bullish. It's the reason that I've changed my opinion on crypto. It's tremendous token, great chicken. I love chicken, fried chicken, they're calling it. Spicy chicken, they're calling it. We're going to make a great big deal. We're going to do a huge deal with Wing Token, they're calling it. Frankly, folks, it has changed my opinion on all of crypto. Wow. Thank you. That is awesome. So that's one of my favorites. I've got 2 left. So.
Oh yeah, guys, you gotta check out what this gentleman does, man. Sassy, I swear to God, brother, I love you. Like I said before, my son loves you. Like he's the one that shows me the content every day. But that's awesome, man. And yeah, shit, I didn't realize we got 130,000 people watching in today. That's awesome, guys. Nice.
Nice. They're watching you work behind the scenes. They're on camera.
Oh yeah. Hello. Frying some wings as we speak, actually. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
We should get together, Jason. Jason, we should get together and do some sort of cooking show together. I think that'd be pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
I think that would be cool. Maybe we can do something on the next live stream, or maybe not the next one, but the following one. Maybe we can. Yeah. I know it gets late for you. We get something early. That'll be good. That'll be actually sick. Right? We'll cook live and enjoy some wicked wings on the. Well, not wicked wings, Shiba wings, because you don't want to confuse that with other wings, but Shiba wings on a live stream. That'll be sick. We'll get everybody involved. We can do a wing contest on the day.
Get yourself out to the UK when you're launching in the UK, and we'll get something set up. We'll get you into a kitchen, get it videoed.
100%. Yes, yeah, definitely. I am talking with somebody right now, a supplier there, but that's why I want to chat to you. So we'll definitely chat more. I'm about to get some stuff set up there Maybe you can test some stuff for us, John. I think that'll be wicked, right, John? If you did the little development for us on that product,
I can do anything you need.
I'd say.
If you need anything done in the UK, I can happily get involved and do stuff for you. You know,
Yes,
I've got people.
love it. Amen.
That's the other aspect that I probably never got to speak about is like we've in the UK we've partnered up with a company called the Burnt Chef Project. You know, and they're a charity that actually they're in Australia and things like that now too. They're pretty global now, and they support the mental health and well-being of the hospitality industry. You know, they supply. You know, they've got an NHS app where you can phone a doctor 24 hours a day and things like that. You know, if you're ever struggling in the industry for the mental health, so. Even within the app, we've got on checkout, you can donate, you know, your change to the charity, and they keep 100% anything raised through the app and things like that. So, you know, we've done an NFT collection and we donated 10%. I think we donated something like $6,000 to them, you know, to train up mental health first aiders and things like that. This is before we even launched, you know. But yeah, for us, it's important to give back to the industry, hospitality industry. It's not just about obviously trying to improve things from a financial point of view. We're obviously trying to improve things from a mental health point of view too, and just how people perceive the industry, you know, because life as a chef, people think it's normal to work 18, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know, don't get your days off. They don't realise the impact that has, you know, on individuals or on individual families and things like that. So we're pretty big on trying to change people's mindsets within the industry too, and how people perceive what should get done and how they should do it, basically. So you should look into them, Jason. I think they're out your way too now, but you know, they're pretty good guys. Chris, the owner of the Burnt Chef Project, and they're doing great things. They're doing great things across the world just now. So might be good for you to meet those guys too if they're out that way.
Definitely, you know, 100%. I really appreciate that, John. And yeah, Adrian's been doing a few things on that side too with mental health and charities and stuff that we are going to be setting up. So this will be a great alignment, and we can talk more on that side. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, honestly, anything we can do to help people within the industry, it's worth doing. So
yes, I totally agree. And that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to change the game and help as much as we can as we go on that journey. Doesn't matter what you're in or what space you're in. Doesn't need to be crypto. Doesn't need to be, you know, you own a business, just an individual. I've had so many people reach out to me, just people that are trying to do things, right? Like just get a starting point, or even a lot of charities, right? We're just trying to work out the best alignment. And that's what Wing is all about. Like we're here to help. Like that's always been my journey as a person. I've always been somebody that's always tried to do something for someone else, or always tried to, I guess, give better, right? And then help that person and not worry about myself, and which is why we grind so much, right? My eyes always shutting, I'm always tired because we're non-stop grinding and trying to help that next person or help something take shape. But, you know, this is the type of people we are. And the way we align, we build around us, right? And people just start falling in because they feel that, they see that, and they know what we're trying to do and achieve. So it's really good. And the alignment's just beautiful with everybody that we've got moving forward. It's really good to see. Maybe Sassy can do a hectic cartoon series on that, and we can showcase that out. All right.
We're actually going to be doing a little bit in the way of mental health charities as well, for specifically like men's mental health. It just aligns with a lot of our demographic and stuff. We haven't exactly picked that yet, but as a team, we've been talking about it a lot because, again, if we, you know, we're already going to have revenue coming in, we're definitely going to want to give back in some of those ways. And, you know, people are hurting. Like you said, we want to help if we can in any way. So yeah, that's something we're aligned on in that capacity. Because
yeah, 100%.
I think, you know, if you're raking it in, you better be giving it back. And everything that you give kind of does come back to you anyway. So
yep. Tenfold, my friend. Tenfold. Totally agree there, brother. 100%.
Yeah, that was my whole point. You know, I used to say this to the community too. Do you know what I mean? Like, them that's been in business, or them that's lost a business, or them that's struggled in life, do you know what I mean? You know, it's the worst feeling in the world, you know, and if I can save one business going through that pain that I've been through, do you know what I mean? If I can save one business owner, you know, from having to go home to their family and tell them that they're about to lose their business, that's worth more to me than the money, do you know what I mean? Yeah. If I can save somebody that 15, 20%, you know, that's everything to me, because I've been through that pain, and I would hate for anybody else to go through that pain, because it's the worst feeling in the world. It really is. So, you know, if we can do some good along the way, it sort of fits in with the whole ethos of what DeFi is, Do you know what I mean? And what it should be. You know what I mean? And it's about community and giving back and building things together. So I always feel that DeFi and hospitality actually go hand in hand in a lot of ways, with a lot of the morals and a lot of the beliefs and how you should actually do things. So yeah, if you can give back to the world, it makes the world a better place.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. All right. Any last words from anybody here today? If anybody wants to say anything before we start closing this space up and get into all the RWA action, all the fun.
Take it away.
I think that was a great space, guys. A lot to speak about today. Thanks for coming up. Staked and Sassy, you guys are great speakers. Love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Another really great discussion. I think we covered a lot of really important topics too, and just really, really grateful to be here and happy to share insights with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us up. I should probably get along to more of these. Let's just try to find a time and the time zones to get up and do them. So yeah, appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming, especially I know we've got 4 or 5 or 6 different time zones all on right now as well. So that's really awesome that we can all get together. We really appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, guys. Great space as always. And we look forward to the next one. Adios.